How to take public transport? Should you tip at restaurant? Do you need to speak German? Strange museum house rules. This video will tell you all of this essential information you want to know when planning your trip to Vienna. As an expat living in London, I walk around London and travel around Europe and share with you ideas and inspirations. Hit the subscribe button to get the latest travel updates. So the number one is restaurant service. At restaurants, please don't compare the service to the American standard that's always warm and checking in all the time. It's not that the service is rude. Actually, most waiters and waitresses are very friendly people. If you ask recommendations, they'll be very helpful. It's more about if you don't shout and ask for the bill, they will just leave you there and wouldn't rush you. So the English way of using eye contact doesn't work. You really need to be a bit louder and obvious when you want to draw their attention for anything. Now let's talk about tipping at restaurants. So do you need to tip and how much? I think this is a general convention for continental Europe, not just Vienna or Austria. So the tip is not included in the bill, and the customers usually add about 10% as the service fee. You don't need to write it down the bill if you pay by cash, just give the total amount of cash including the tip. Or if you don't have the exact amount, you can tell them how much change you want back. If you pay by card, you can tell them how much in total to charge you. This is quite different from the UK or US. In the UK, the service charge is included in the bill already, and most of the time it will be 12.5%. So as a customer, you don't need to do the math, just pay the exact amount and you're good to go. In America, the bill doesn't include the tips and you need to calculate the amount of tips based on a percentage of the bill. And the percentage is different by state. You need to write the amount of tip you want to give on the bill so the waiter or waitress will know how much to charge your card. If you're traveling from a country having the same tipping culture as the US or the UK, then it will be useful to know the rule at the restaurant in Austria. Next one, the drinking water. When in Vienna, you don't really need to buy bottled water. The tap water is 100% drinkable. In fact, Vienna has one of the best quality drinking water in the world. Also, whenever you order coffee or tea, it always comes with a glass of water, which is really nice. Next one is the rules in the museum. In Vienna, when you visit museums or palaces, the coat, handbags, and backpacks are not allowed inside unless the handbag is as small as the size that can only fit your phone and wallet. You need to store them in the cloakroom. The locks are normally free. This is quite different from museums in other European cities like Paris or London, so don't be surprised of this house rule at the Viennese museums. Restaurant reservations. Like all the big cities, if you're planning to go to those top-rated Viennese traditional restaurants or cafes, you need to make reservations ahead of time. Otherwise, almost certainly you have to wait for a long time to get in. At Hotel Sacre Cafe, there was already a queue of 10 people at 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning. And you don't want to stand outside in winter for an hour because it's really cold. For most restaurants, you can make reservations on their website. For some family-run restaurants, you have to call them, and in some cases, speaking German is necessary. When it comes to transportation, Vienna has a very well-developed public transportation system consisting of buses, trams, underground, and trains. They are quick, safe, reliable, clean, easy to connect, and take people almost anywhere in the city. The waiting time is short, normally less than 5 minutes for the underground and less than 10 minutes for the trams. The underground runs from 5 a.m. in the morning until midnight, but on Friday and Saturday night and on nights before holiday, the underground operates 24 hours. Buses also operate at night daily from 12:30 a.m. to 5 a.m. at a 30-minute interval. So how much does it cost to get around Vienna using public transportation? There are a few options you can choose from depending on your travel plan, which ticket is more cost efficient. A single ticket costs €2.4, which is valid across multiple transfers until your destination. If you have one day in Vienna and have a lot of places to go in that single day, you can buy a 24-hour ticket, which costs €8. If you have 2 days or 3 days in Vienna, you can also choose a 48-hour ticket, which costs €14.1, or 72-hour ticket, which costs €70.1. If you have more than 3 days in Vienna, then it makes sense to choose the weekly ticket at the price of €17.1. Note that the weekly ticket is valid from Monday until next Monday. It's not on a rolling basis, so do consider that when you decide which ticket makes most sense for you. You can buy the tickets at the red machine in the underground station or train station. It accepts cash and card, including American Express. Be careful that the train ticket is separate from the inner city transport ticket. For example, if you take the train from the airport to the city center, you can't use the weekly ticket. You need to buy a separate one. Also different from many large cities, the transportation in Vienna works on an honesty system, meaning there's no ticket barrier at all, so you can just hop on the underground or train, but it doesn't mean you don't need to buy a ticket. There are actually random checks for a ticket, and if you don't have one, then you will be fined, which you don't want. I was checked once during my 5 days in Vienna. Also be careful that you do need to stamp your ticket when you enter for the first time. There's normally a box on any means of transportation for you to do so. If you don't, the ticket you purchased wouldn't be considered as valid, and you will be fined for not having a valid ticket. The official language in Austria is German, but in general, it is not a problem if you don't speak German to get around Vienna, as most people in the service industry speak very good English, especially younger people. The only time I had hurdles communicating was when I went to ice skating and bought the wrong ticket due to the wrong English translation on the ticket machine. The more senior staff at the ice rink didn't speak English, so it took me quite some time to ask help from a younger staff member to explain what was going on. So if you're planning to experience something or go somewhere very local, please be prepared for the possibility of the communication issues. The last one is to share my stressful experience using credit card in Vienna. I normally use an American Express card in London and it works fine in most shops and restaurants. I know in London some smaller merchants don't accept Amex card because they charge a higher transaction fee to the merchants, and I know this is more so in smaller cities outside London. However, I didn't realize Amex is rarely accepted in big cities like Vienna. The biggest shopping center doesn't accept it. The very American shops like McDonald's don't accept it. Cafes inside the international airport don't accept it. The only place I found that accepts Amex is Starbucks. So don't make the same mistake as me. Take Visa or MasterCard when traveling in Vienna, or plenty of cash.